Okay, then welcome back to Get Onside on this chilly Saturday morning. Still plenty to get through. Going to have a look at the Football League programme. Of course, sadly, one or two fixtures already falling by the wayside. I know our next guest, Steve Freeth, one of his best bets of the weekend, has gone. But that doesn't mean he hasn't got something up his sleeve for us. So we better join him. It's our mate from Bet365, Steve Freeth. Hi, Steve.
Good morning, Al.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. We'll get your best bet in a moment, the one that is still standing, as it were. But I know as a big Baggies fan, the Black Country Derby tomorrow, Wolves against West Brom. What are your thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, very big game, Al. I mean, Albion are slightly getting into the relegation zone now, aren't they? They're close to it. They're still 8-1 for relegation, Al. There's still plenty of poorer teams around. I mean, Wigan and Blackburn are still long odds on for the drop. But of course, Wolves get 3 points, and then all of a sudden it's game on, isn't it, for Wolves and Mick McCarthy? Obviously, he was getting a bit of stick prior to last week. He managed to get 3 points on the board, but Albion were poor out last week against Swansea. I know we talked about that last week, and Swansea fully deserved the points.
Do you think he'll start? Do you think he'll start with Kevin Doyle up at against West Brom?
Possibly. I mean, obviously Fletcher's the first name on the team sheet. I mean, whether he plays Fletcher out wide, Doyle out wide, or whether he sticks the two up top, I'm not sure if those two will work together. But either way, I mean, I couldn't call it. We need Shane Long back possibly, Al, because he's the goals threat from him. Odin Wingy's not been at it this season either, so. It's a tough one to call, and the betting suggests that as well. It'd be a no bet for me, and just go and enjoy the game if I possibly can.
And you're up in Stoke at the moment. A quick word on the game. Stoke away at Fulham. I think Stoke are a massive price in this. How can they be as big as 3-1 or whatever they are, mate?
Yeah, I suppose it's you like to take on Fulham away from home, Al. I'm not too sure about taking Stoke, who have improved recently. I think on their travels, they managed to win 4 games already this season, but. Having seen a little bit of Stoke at the moment, I'm just giving them a bit of a wide berth, Al. I know they are a fairly tasty price around the 3-1 mark. I mean, at those prices, I think the prices are probably right.
Yeah. And
the money has been for Fulham.
Indeed. All right. Well, you do have one of your best bets still outstanding. It's still up and running for us. Tell us what you've got, Stevie.
Yeah, Scunthorpe, a side I saw a bit of earlier in the season. Al. Alan Neil's teams always play good football. And I saw them at the start of the season against Walsall, and they absolutely battered Walsall, but ended up drawing 2-2. I think was the final score. And I left the game with a little note, just thinking needs a big, strong frontman really to put the goals away for him, hold up the ball and be a real presence up top there. And Neil's gone out and done that. He's brought in Big John Parkin, who probably won't play 90 minutes though, but be a massive threat for him. I think they're a side to stick with, particularly now Scunthorpe, and hopefully get themselves out of relegation trouble. And Yeovil, as we know, themselves are struggling. The old 6-pointer, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
I think Yeovil are a side worth taking, and I think Scunthorpe are definitely a side to keep with over the coming weeks with John Parkin in the side.
Scunthorpe 11-10, Big John Parkin, the beast. Just very quickly, Freethy, I know there's games falling by the wayside. Is there anything else that has perhaps caught your attention that we might want to know?
Yeah, I mean, Burnley have been quite well backed at Southampton again. A side who are having a little bit of a wobble up the top there in the Championship. Yeah. And I think the Racing Post have also tipped that up today. So, yeah, there's a few around for Burnley at big prices.
Listen, Freethy, as ever, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for all your help, and you stay warm. We'll speak to you soon, all right?
Cheers, Al. Thank you.
There you go. Thanks to old Steve Freethy. We're going to crack on. The Stadium of Light, Sunderland against Arsenal. Sunderland in a great run of form. Arsenal, have we got carried away with that victory last week? We didn't quite tip the 7-1 up, did we? But we did say both teams to score, Graham. But anyway, Sunderland against Arsenal.
Yeah, dress rehearsal for the FA Cup tie next week as well. So, but concentrating on the Premier League, tough one to call for me. I think Sunderland's form has been outstanding since Martin O'Neill took over. Arsenal, confidence back after that 7-1 drubbing last week. Maybe the draw's the best bet.
I think, again, you get Sunderland getting half a goal head start, are you? Again, Sunderland to win and to draw on the Asian handicap. I think that has to be a play because Arsenal, let's be honest, despite last week, still haven't been at their scintillating best. Quickly, let's go to Villa. Villa against Man City. Could be protests against Alex McLeish before the game. I think there'll be more after the game, personally.
It could well be. Could be during it as well, because I don't see anything other than a Manchester City win. Maybe a few die-hard Villa fans will fancy a bit of value with 11-4. Villa at home, given Manchester City's recent away form, but I think City back on track, win the game.
I think so all day long. I'm not impressed by Villa at all. I should very quickly touch upon the game. Everton against Chelsea. Your two old mobs up at Goodison Park, mate.
Again, another tough one to call. Everton saw off Manchester City with a decent performance. New players with Pinar and Jelavic as well. Chelsea in and out, forms dipping, isn't it? So tough one to call again. The draw could be a good bet.
And there's no doubt about it. They're 3-3 and they were 3-0 up. It flattered Chelsea last week, didn't it?
I thought it did, to be honest with you. I thought they were very fortunate to be 3-0 up. I thought Manchester United controlled most of that game and somehow found themselves 3-0 down due to dicey defending.
Yeah. So I think Everton could be a bit of a price in that one. OK, what about north of the border? It's not so chilly, oddly enough, up there. Let's find a man he's on his way down here to do the game at Bolton as well. It's our mate Andy Walker, the former Celtic and Bolton star. Hi, Andy.
Yeah, good morning, gents. How are you?
We're great. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Just here in Bolton just now, and you're right, it's a lot colder here than it is up in Glasgow. Change days.
It is. All sorts going on. We'll touch on the Bolton game in a minute if we can, but quickly on Scotland. I must just mention, you tipped up Dundee United last week against Rangers. They're against Dunfermline in the lunchtime kickoff. Would you give Dunfermline any sort of chance in this one, mate?
Well, they haven't won at home yet this season. I can't see it. Dunfermline are struggling badly, and I think Rangers will be galvanised. They've had a terrible press all week. Alan McCoist has gone out and he's trying to get Daniel Kuzan in. That should give them a bit of a lift. No, I can only see an away win there today. I think Rangers will get back to winning ways.
Well, you tipped up Hibs last week. I think you're going for them again this time around. They're up against Aberdeen. What's the thought process here, Andy?
Yeah, I like the way that Pat Fenlon is going about the job. He's obviously realised that the squad needed a lot of just a different direction completely, and he's brought in a lot of fresh players in the January window. I think it's costing Hibs a bit of money to let people go, bring others in. He's got Georgie Claros available today, and he was a player who Rangers were going for actually, and I think it tells you a lot about Rangers, the fact that they couldn't afford them. So he's gone to Hibs, and again, just a different player. I think there's a different momentum now at Hibs, and he'll only be able to get a bit of confidence after that 1-0 win last week.
So Hibs then against Aberdeen. The second one, Motherwell against the St Mirren side, who are pleasing on the eye but don't really achieve much, Andy.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Al. I think they've earned a great reputation this season. They're just struggling to get over the line and win games. It's all very well going along and seeing some pretty football, but I think the supporters would like just a bit of winning football at the moment. They're in absolutely no danger, and Danny Lennon has done a terrific job. But I think Motherwell they've had a boost with Jamie Murphy staying on. He had the opportunity to go to Blackpool during the transfer window there, but I think he's chosen to stay just to play on a weekly basis, improve his game, and then he'll possibly move down south later on. So I think they've been given a boost by that, and Motherwell's away form has been terrific. I fancy them for all 3 points today.
Well, let's have a quick word then, if we can. You say you're on your way to Bolton, or you're there now. Bolton then against Wigan. Wigan, no clean sheets in 11 away from home. Bolton arguably showing a bit of improved form despite the defeat last week, now that Gary Cahill is gone. What do you think, mate?
Well, it's a big game for both sides, isn't it? I know that Bolton won the reverse fixture early in the season at Wigan 3-1, and I think today maybe Tim Mears into the side. I think Owen Cohen might just go for a bit of width today. Chris Eagles might come in. Petrov could play. That will give them a bit of width, trying to feed and go. And I think they've got a decent goal-scoring threat from midfield. Rio Coker, Mark Davis playing well there. So I fancy Bolton for a home win today.
Fancy Bolton for a home win. Listen, Andy, you have a safe trip back, and thanks for all your help as ever. We'll speak to you soon, all right?
Thanks, Jen. Speak to you soon.
There you go, Bolton for a home win. I always like David Wheater. I think he attacks the ball from corners. And we said the other week, Mark Langdon makes this point in the Racing Post repeatedly, that Wigan are susceptible to the central midfielders of opposition teams. Do you fancy Bolton in this one?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a game, really, that both teams can't afford to lose. However, Wigan are everybody's favourites to go down, in my opinion. They concede too many goals. They don't score enough goals. Not a good combination. Bolton to win all day long for me.
OK, we look far and wide for the best winning bets for you. Of course, it's the final of the African Cup of Nations, Zambia against Ivory Coast. Let's look at Côte d'Ivoire. They're getting all posh upstairs on us here. Look, they've got both on, just in case. Ivory Coast 4-7. Now, I always think in these finals, the draw in 90 minutes is a huge player. Yeah,
it is. It's these games are invariably tight, aren't they? No surprise Ivory Coast find themselves in the final. Maybe a little bit of surprise Zambia are there, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, 1-0, they both won their semi-finals. I don't think Ivory Coast have been at their absolute best, have they, so far in this tournament?
No, perhaps they've saved the best till last. I fancy the Ivory Coast to win it.
Okay, I think Ivory Coast overall, but I think a draw in 90 minutes. But I guess get your best bets, if I can say it. Get it out. Here's what we've got. So let's have a look at the caption again, the bit that cheers me up no end every week. Newcastle plus 1.25 against Tottenham to start with.
Yeah, we touched on it in the first part of the show, didn't we? We both feel it's going to be a tight game. I think if you can get Newcastle at a goal and a quarter start, it represents good value for me.
And then you've got Bayern Munich, who, let's be honest, do score goals for fun, don't they? You fancy them?
Well, they're averaging 3.2 goals a game at home. Kaiserslautern don't score enough goals. They've only scored 8 away from home. So Bayern Munich, although -2, doesn't look too good. I fancy them to overcome that.
Yeah, that means if they do only win 2-0 or by 2 goals, you do get your money back, by the way. But I fancy Bayern Munich in that one. There's always goals galore in the Bundesliga. Let's have a look at my best bets as well, see if I can retrieve the situation from last week. Now, last week, Graham went with, as we said, Real Sociedad to cover the handicap against Barcelona. I think Barcelona can do it this time against a poor Osasuna team who've not won at home in 2012. And they won 8-0 in the reverse fixture at the Nou Camp did Barcelona. So I think Barcelona -1.5. And Standard Liège. Liège is always a big place to go. Yes, Anderlecht are top of the league, but Liège have won 9 out of 12 at home this season, and I think Standard Liège are the call. Listen, that's been it for another week. Thanks to all my guests. You stay warm, and I hope you have a few winners. Stay tuned for racing news.